Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Thursday afternoon Qigong Live Online. I was sitting here while we were setting the camera up today, and something came to me, so I actually got it before the class. What we're going to do today. Not quite sure how it will manifest itself, but it's an interesting subject, so we'll see what it even looks like. I do my neck. I have all sorts of graunching going on in my neck when I do that. From years of rugby, so my neck's been smashed a few times. So when I'm doing that, it just goes creak, 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 creak. But it's really good for it. So, and it's interesting, if I have a sore point in my neck and I twist it, and when I first go, oh, ow, that's sore, but if I keep going, by the time I finish doing the neck exercises, I go back to that point and it's completely gone. So I think it's, if you don't do these things, then that piece of tension stays in your neck, and then it'll get more tension, and then it gets really stiff. But I think if you keep clearing it every day, then it doesn't have a chance to build up, and I think that's one of the ideas of stretching every day. That's why it's so important. Just for that exact reason, yeah? Yeah, wrist. So there was thunder before, so I'm not sure if if it's coming this way or not, but I think it was over there, so hopefully it stays over there. We're filming on Wednesday. Yesterday we had a guest appearance from somebody teaching yesterday, which was really cool. It started raining, but we have all our stuff under a tent. The tent in front of you, can't see that. Well, actually, I think there was a photo. I put a photo up the other day of it, but everything's under cover, so it wasn't so bad. But we did have the TV out here, so we had to move the TV. But otherwise, all the lights, everything goes underneath them, so it's perfect. So when you're stretching, and I'll find, I just got another one just then, and you'll find something when you're doing your stretching, and you'll go, ow, and I'll go to that place, and it's like doing Twainer, and I'll keep working on that place till I free it all up again, and then the pain goes away. And I'll keep going there just to get the energy moving. However, it's stuck, so there's no blockages. So you're doing like self massage to get the energy moving, the blood moving. As I say, the pain comes from the stagnant blood or stagnant chi. So as soon as you get it moving again, a lot of the pain will just dissipate. So I felt one then too. See, and now it's all gone. Yeah, now it's not sore again. Okay, just like that. Like fine tuning your body every day. We're going to do circles today. What did we come up with today? We're going to do circles. We're going to do rotations inside our body. And there's I haven't been talking. That's why I'm yawning. I haven't been talking for a while, so it's been quite a quiet time. So I'm going to start talking. A different air has to come. Anyway, I'll do some rotations. So there's the physical part of the rotation, and then there's the energetic piece of it, and there's two different pieces to it. There is, of course, there'll be a spiritual rotation, of course, but we'll see where you get to that piece or not. I think self-discovery of our human body and what our body can do and what it's capable of, not only physically but also energetically, is the mystery. if mystery is the right word. Not sure it's a mystery. Well, it is a mystery in some ways. Our true potential as a human being, I don't know what it is. I know we gain the physical level of our body. We gain it by what gymnasts can do, not necessarily our own body, of course, because we're not just the same as everybody else, but the physical body is defined. It has limitations of what it can and cannot do. And the best way to find what that is the Olympic Games. It's how fast it can swim, how fast it can run, how high it can jump, all those sort of things, how many somersaults you could do in the air if you were doing gymnastics. But that's the limitation of the human body. Its physical form can only do certain things. It can only run so fast, depending which one you train it for. But it is limited. But the energetic body, I don't know if there is a limitation to that. I'm not sure where that stops, of what you can do energetically, and what you can do with your mind and your intention, what you can do with your ability to manifest. I don't know if there's a limitation to that at all. The fact you can pray for somebody on the other side of the world and heal them, what's that? What's there's no limitation to that. I think that part that intrigues me. We've done the physical stuff. I've done it, pushed my body to pretty much the ends of limits that most people probably will never do in their life, but I've been there in the place of complete pain and collapse. And so there's a place where it goes, and that's about as much as you can do on it. It won't go any further than that. It will just die. But the mental toughness and the mental part of our intention, and the strength of our mind and the strength of what our mind can create, that one fascinates me. That one's not sure what the end looks like for that one. Not sure if there even is an end. But the Qigong opens up the doors of the possibilities of all the different aspects of the energetic power we have, and what we can do with that power. And I like that. It's a great doorway into discovery of that sort of concept. And then, of course, there's the spiritual power, which is who are we really and why we're really here. There's that aspect as well. And that seems to be a rather large topic as well. But I think to understand why we're here or our purpose, you have to understand sometimes the limitation of our physical body, but the non-limitation of our energetic body or our consciousness. To know what that is, how can you know what your purpose is if you don't know where the limit of your consciousness is? Because then your purpose can change if your level of consciousness changes, so everything just keeps moving. But the physical body is pretty well set. We know how fast it runs. It stops there, and we know it needs food, we know it needs sleep, but the consciousness and our mind and the power of our mind, very different. Don't know, I'm not quite sure where that stops. But that's exciting. To our hips. I think the thing I like the most is having conscious experiences. How's that? I'm not sure if that's the right word, but that'll do for the day. About having energetic experiences in my body, or energetic experiences in my body, but the other one is having mental expressions of something beyond mind, or things that are happening, or having things happen, or my image warps and the world warps, or something happens that's just not normal for in your conscious state that we normally have. That one, something that happens, or you feel this connection to the trees either side of you, and you can palpably feel and go, oh, okay, what's that? And you've never, those sort of experiences. They're the ones I like. I like having that beyond mind experience of something that you've never felt before or experienced before. And because feelings, energy, all that things is all part of it. So, sorry? Talk to you. Hello, darling. Jason said, talk to me. I said, yeah, I'll talk to you. Yeah, so that experience, those experiences beyond that, they having a feeling of it's in your class, and when you feel your body's energy moving and you feel like you're floating, having a feeling that there's a pressure on your body and you're not quite sure what it is, but it's moving your body, and then you're feeling all of these things. Those ones, that's the ones that your mind doesn't understand and you can't comprehend and you don't know where to put it. That experience is, opens the door that there's something else going on that beyond what our mind thinks it is. And I love that. I love the concept of that. To say Qigong's a great vehicle to bring those experiences into your life. Can we just stretch our legs? We're going to conjure up one today. We're going to make one happen today. I don't know how we're going to do it because I'm talking about it, so we're going to do it. So that's exciting. We'll tell you in a second how we're going to do that. So what I'll do is, quite often I'll get a concept. Usually I get it during the warm-up, but I actually got it before the class started today. I'll get a concept of what we can do today. Or as to say, it's usually in the middle of the class. And all I'll get is the first piece of it. I won't get the whole thing. I'll just get one slight thing. And then I start that thing, whatever it is, and then it just keeps rolling by itself. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. It goes off in different directions. I don't necessarily know which direction it's going to go. It just happens. And I think it has a lot to do with you guys that are watching, because what's happening to you somehow or other, we're all connected together somehow. And so it affects what's going on in the class, and it affects how I'm teaching and what I say as well. And I think there's all sorts of things happening to that, to change the concept of the thought of that, or the experience of that. And a lot of it comes from you. You guys are watching it. And I also think, this is the weird one, I also think that people that are coming to watch this afterwards who need to hear this are influencing it as well, because somehow consciousness knows they're going to watch this afterwards sometime, and it could be in 6 months' time. It could be a person's not even in part of Forest Rock yet that's going to come in and needs to watch this class, and somehow or other this class knew that they were going to come and watch. The monastery knew they were going to come and watch this class, and it was set up for them 6 months ahead of them arriving. That I find fascinating. And we've all had that. I've had people come and go back and watch class 52 or something and say, that's exactly what I needed to do. That's exactly what I needed to hear that day. And it's like I filmed that 2 years ago. Yeah, so it does happen. We've got big black clouds over there, darling. We have big black clouds over there. We could be running for cover today. It actually looked fine when we first started. It was all quite clear, but it's come over pretty quick. But anyway, all we have to do, we won't stop the class. Well, we will stop it for a couple of minutes. So I just need to move the lights, because they're the only things outside of the tent. We'll move the lights, and we'll coming back to the class, because I don't care if I get wet. It doesn't matter. Well, have a look at the class. Have you seen the class where it was raining? Oh, go into the class library and have a look. And in the class library, it's got it in brackets, rainy day or something, written on it. It wasn't that long ago. It was only like a month ago. Have a look back and you'll see the class and have rainy day. And what was I doing? I was doing an exercise from the Zhangjiang, this exercise from the Zhangjiang. And it started raining, but it was really raining. It's funny. I was absolutely drenched. My first wet weather, and hopefully the last wet weather. Before we had the tent, of course, we had to move inside because we got a lot of very technical electronic gear that we can't get wet. But we're under a tent now. We've mitigated that problem. So now, if it rains, the only one who gets wet is me. So I had a bit of tension in my knee the other day, and I gave myself some acupuncture and I put some stuff on it. It's made a huge difference, but I can still feel a little bit of tension there. So Yeah, it's better. Very good. Let's do our feet. Open our toes. Good, there you go. Good, so we'll just bow and we'll get into our class, eh? Walk back onto our hands. Left hand underneath, right hand on top. Two thumbs together and gong. So we were doing a class not very long ago, and we were talking about rotations. Now I do this class a lot about the rotations, but we're going to do something totally different. We're just talking about the concept of rotation. So when we move as a human being, which is interesting, we're talking about the limitations of the physical body. Our body moves a certain way, and there's two things we do. One is we change weight. We have to change weight when we're walking. So 100% weight, 1 foot, because otherwise you can't pick the leg off the ground. You have to change 100% weight to get it up. So we change weight inside our body from right to left, which is this idea of moving from this way to this way. What you see a lot in the Qigong exercise, you're moving one way and then you're turning and doing another way, and you're facing one side at once and you change weight. This won't change to something we do as movement, because as I say, if we don't change weight 100%, we can't move. Because you can't, if you've got 10% on one leg and 90%, you cannot get that foot off the ground unless you do 100%. If 10% off the ground, you can't get it off. It's impossible. So that's one of them. The other one is that we need to get up, to go up. Like if we're jumping, we need to push down. And the other one is the rotation. We turn from when we're walking, we move and we turn around, and we always turn, and we have this idea of turning, and our waist turns, and we have this flexibility of turning our waist. So a lot of exercises are evolved around those three concepts. We're going to take the rotation one, this idea of rotation, and we're going to take it slightly different. And we're going to do a rotation, but this time what we're going to do is we're going to think of our ankles. We'll do our ankles first. We'll start with our ankles. And you're going to do this, the whole body's going to rotate, where the whole body's going to go in a circle. So you're going to go forward and slightly back. So you're going to go in the front of your toes, across to the other, and then to your heels. Yep. And so you have this whole idea that the body's doing a cycle, a circle. Yep. And it's doing that like that, yeah? And it's going forward, backwards, and it's like forward and backwards. Good. Now I want you to think of that movement of that circle, and I want you to think of creating that movement by your ankles. So your ankles are going forward, across, the other come back. So your ankles are creating this movement, the circular movement. If I go to the side, you can see I'm going backwards and forwards, yeah? Going forward, front toes, heels, heels, toes, toes, heels, heels, and I'm making the circular motion. And my mind, my focus is on my ankles, and my ankles are moving me. Yeah, my ankles are moving it. And I can feel the change of weight, it goes from the heels to the toes, but it's my ankles that are turning and making this spiraling effect. It's a big circle, like a circle, they're not spiraling individually like that. They're spiraling as a big circle. Yeah. And we're coming from the ankles. Good, stop there and see if you can do each ankle by itself. Looks like that, so you have two circles going, both ankles turning. Yeah. And all you're doing is putting your intention to your ankles and moving and circling around both. And put them both together and do one big circle. And both ankles are part of the one big circle, not the two little ones. Good, there you go. Good, so next one I'm going to do is the knees. Think of your knees, I'm going to do the knee circles, I'm going to do the circles. Even though the actual circle is probably very similar both ways, but your focus is on your knees doing this. My knees are going forward, my knees are going back, my knees are going forward, my knees are going back. The weight's still changing from the front of the feet to the back of the feet, but I'm circling now from my knees. My focus is on the knees. Yep. Now I don't even know if we can do the individual knees, we're going to try it. And do go the same thing and then turn both knees. Yeah, you can. So there you go. I've never tried that. So you can turn both knees individually by themselves, even though we're doing this. But see, the circles now, the individual circles, each knee's moving, and you're turning each knee by themselves. And if you go back together and put them one big one, then they both move together in a big circle. Very cool. There you go. I'm intrigued if you can do that with your hips. And go back to individual knees. Yeah. Individual ankles. Ankles is one piece. Two different ankles. So you can change it just the way, as soon as you change your mind, your consciousness. Both knees are one piece. One big circle with both knees. Good. Two different circles with two individual circles with both knees. Good. Hips. Moving. Now this is the easy one. Yeah, the hips are easy ones to move. So we know this one. Now normally what we do is when we do the hip movement, we don't do this forward and backwards. We just rotate. Yeah. We rotate in a central point for that centre column. So if I stand aside, so we have a centre column and we just rotate. Yeah. We have that idea. But what we're doing now is we're actually moving, so we're actually going forward and back with our hips. So we're having this movement like that. It's going to the side and coming back to the front. We're moving this way. Yep. I'm intrigued whether you can move each hip by itself. I bet you can. We'll try that in a second. We'll just get this one going. And we'll see if we can get both hips moving by themselves. Okay, move both hips. Yeah, you can. You can move both hips, can't you? There you go. I'm learning just as fast as you are. I don't think I've ever thought of it like that. Yeah, so both hips move individually by themselves. They're both moving like that. Or I can put them together and I move one big circle with both of them. Yeah, there you go. That's fascinating, isn't it? Cool. Now think of your spinal column. Move your spine around. Now this has a different feeling. Oh, yeah, it goes right back into heels, yeah? So you feel like your spine's turning. Your spine's spiraling around, but the whole spine, right up to your neck. Yeah, that's bizarre. That's an interesting feeling, isn't it? You can get a bit car sick with that one. You can get a bit of motion sickness. Good. We'll do the next one. Do our shoulders. Do our shoulders. Move our shoulders around. And actually move your shoulders when you do this. Not just move your hips, but actually move your shoulders. So there's one big movement with your shoulders, and one big movement with your shoulders. So going forward and backwards. Forward, backwards. Forward, backwards. There you go. That's great. Of course we're going to be able to do two arms, individual arms at the same time. Can we do that? Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can move both arms. They feel like they're both moving differently. The shoulders are both moving differently. That's great. And go back to the whole shoulders moving as one piece. Yeah, so you can isolate them very easily. And of course the last one will be your neck. So move our neck. Oh, there's the thunder. We move our neck. So our whole body's moving, but we're focusing on neck moving here. So our neck's moving, but the whole body's going with the neck. And going forward. Of course we can't isolate the neck. That's great. So this is a physical movement, yep. So we go back to the ankles, so move both ankles as one piece. So one big circle with the ankles, so both ankles are part of one big circle. Feel that movement. And we're physically doing that. Good. And then break both ankles down so they're moving differently, they're moving by themselves. So ankles are individually moving, doing circles by themselves. Good. Then bring your knees and do the circle with themselves. Sorry, the circle, the knees would move together first. We do the together one first. So both knees are being part of the same big circle. And then separate that and bring both knees so they're both doing circles themselves. Individual circles. Good. Do the hip as one big circle. Very good. And then do individual hips, move both hips individually by themselves. That's weird, that feeling. They're both turning like this by themselves. They're not part of the big piece. the spinal column. Move the spinal column. It has a very different experience. It's a lot more top heavy. It seems to make the top of your body, your torso, move a lot further. Seems to get more rocking going on. Good. Now, shoulders round. Shoulders part of one big circle first. Shoulders round. Good. And then shoulders individual circles. Well, the individual ones are way easier than the big one. Well, that's for me anyway. Everybody I think would be different to this, depending on how your body is and your body awareness of how to do that. Good. And then my neck. Going that way. And then after you finish that, I want you to stop. Oh, and see the whole body's still moving. Can you feel that? The body, you might have stopped moving, but the body's not. Good. So that's the physical part. So that's the piece. So we've worked out now. Some of those will be easier to feel than others. If you haven't done body work, you might know how to move both shoulders and do both shoulders individually, go in circles. But just to practice things. But now we want to do it. We're going to do it energetically. So once you go back to the ankles, we'll start at the bottom. And I want you to think of the energy. Oh, look, it started by itself. I didn't even say anything, and it started doing it. Energetically move, big circle with your ankles. Now let the energy move it. Look at that. So the first thing we notice, it's slower. The energy is moving it slower, and it's smoother as well. We don't have that sort of jerking forward and backwards going on. We have the smooth transition of the body moving. Good. Now individual ankles by themselves, so they can make in 2 energetic circles with the ankles. Yeah, so that's a lot faster. The circle's a lot faster, of course, because they're smaller. It's not part of one big one. There's just two small circles. But there's still the smoothness in there. Good. Knees, one big circle. Think of the energy. Take away the physical part of it, and just think of energy circulating your knees. Good. 2 different knees together, and then the knees making circles individually. Yeah, there's a smoothness with that one. Then it instantly goes slower too. It's interesting. The physical is a lot quicker, and the energetic slower. Good. Think of the hips. Big circle with the hips, energetically. And so we normally don't move like this. We normally rotate through the center column and we spin around it, but we're actually moving our hips forward and backwards. So we can see that you're actually going forward and backwards like that. Now, because I've done a lot of this movement in my life, that's very, very easy. It moves very smoothly. Because a lot of the Tai Chi, a lot of the Qigong is involved in moving your hips and moving your hips when you move in rotation. So that's a very smooth movement. Individual hips by themselves. Yeah, so what kicks in by that one, as soon as I do that, the sacrum gets involved. The sacrum has to disassociate from the hip movement, the sacrum distance, and then the hips are moving by themselves. I can feel the sacrum wanting to be part of that. It wants to be part of that game. Very good. Spine, move the spine energetically. Well, so what kicks in that is that energetically it's connected to heaven through your head string. So when I'm doing the circles like that, I can feel my head string circling as well. So there's a connection with my head string and the circle the body's making with my spine. There's something energetically connected with the top of my head and my spinal column with heaven, energetically. Yeah, so that's an experience. I've never felt that feeling ever before in my life. That's a really weird feeling. Weird in a good way, by the way, not weird, horrible, weird as in, what's that? It's like heaven has hold of my head string up there somewhere, and it's moving me around like that, and I can feel that feeling, and my head string's moving me, and my spine's going around, and it's twisting my spine around. Bizarre. Okay, shoulders. What does that feel like? Energetically move your shoulders forward and backwards. Yeah, it's created a big movement through the body. It rotates from the shoulders, goes all the way down to the ground. Individual shoulders, smaller. Yeah, still they're similar though. Both shoulders are really similar energetically. And my neck, for let me feel what this feels like energetically. Yeah, and so as soon as I do this, because we do a lot of stretches with the neck already knows what this feels like. It knows what to do. And the neck's moving by itself with just energy moving it, and I'm not trying to use any muscles. The neck just moves by itself quite easily, quite comfortably as well. Yeah, bizarre. Yeah, good. Okay. So, just when you thought things were easy, we need to do it the opposite direction. Yep, so we can feel what it feels both ways. Now, I've been circulating that way, which is, if I'm looking down on top of my head, looking down, I've been going anti-clockwise. I've been doing the circles that way. I'm going to change it. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go clockwise. If you're looking down, if you're standing on the clock and the center of the clock's between your feet, and 12's in the front and 6 is behind, I was going anti-clockwise then. Without knowing I was doing that, by the way. I didn't set that up. I just realised I was going that way, and I did it for all of them. The hips, the shoulders, everything all went the same way. I'm going to go the complete opposite way. Whichever you go, we're going to do the other side. So I'm going to go clockwise with my ankles, energetically. Together, energetically the two ankles by themselves. I'm intrigued at how much synchronicity is in with my two ankles, how much they are in complete sync with each other. There's not one slightly, it's like they're one piece. Even though we're doing two individual circles with them, it feels like they're one. Interesting. Knees, one big circle, go in the opposite direction. Yeah, it doesn't know this one very well. Individual knees. My right knee's okay with my left knee doesn't. What's going on? Left knee's going, what am I doing? That's bizarre. Because I'm not sure if you've ever actually moved like this before. You must have, if you're a dancer, you might have done movements like this. I don't know. Bizarre. Hips, one piece. One big circle with your hips. Yeah, it knows this one because there's the exercise that we do that does this one. And it goes both ways. It goes this way and it goes the other way. So the body knows this one. Individual hips, both hips together, moving the two hips together. Yeah, a lot more command over the right leg than the left leg. There's a lot more connection between the top of the hip of the right and not so much along the left. It's different. It doesn't have so much command. The right leg, the right pelvis has way more command to the right leg than the left one does. I'm only saying what's going on for me. Yours will be totally different. You get to experience your own feeling of what that feels like. Good, move them together. Yeah, it doesn't mind that one. It's the two individual leg ones. Go back to the two legs again. Good. Then the spinal column, energetically. It's just about to make you sick, this one. It's a funny motion sickness, that one, because what's happening is when we're doing this, the spinal cord fluid, the spinal fluid inside our spine, and it goes right into our skull. It's almost like we're washing it around inside the actual, around the spine, because it's around the spine. And it's almost, it feels like it's not around the spine, it runs down the back of the spine, but it feels like the fluid's washing around and spinning this fluid, which makes you feel a little bit nauseous, a little bit motion sickness. Good, shoulders. Both together. Yep. Got to be interesting. After you finish doing this, go for a walk. Just feel how your body feels. You're circulating energy in all the joints. And so we know inside all our joints, inside our joint capsules, we have fluid, yeah? the fluid inside all the capsules, and we're actually spiraling the fluid inside the capsules without willingly doing that. It's just happening by itself. So it'll be interesting when you start walking how that feels. Individual shoulders. And then in the neck, the head. I think it would take a long time, and this is, as I say, this is the first time I've done these particular exercises. I think it would take a long time for your body to learn how to let go inside these places. I notice I'm saying the energy moves my neck, but I know there's a fair amount of muscle tension involved in that, and with not being able to let that go. I notice with the shoulders as well, to let that go and just let the energy move that. The body still has quite an attachment to that movement by itself. Where other movements I do, there is body, I've trained it not to be attached, but it is attached to that one. Yeah, weird, and you just stop there. Yeah, so when I stop, I can still feel the energy moving in my head, around my spine. It's moving in my hips, it's moving in my knees, moving in my ankles. It's still moving. Just stop there for a second, see if you can feel it. Yeah, bizarre. And I encourage you, when the class is finished, go for a walk. Go for a walk. Let me know how you felt. If you got a little bit woozy with this, I'm intrigued. Whether it might have just been me, but I'm not intrigued when you're doing this. Especially the spine, when you're tuning the spine, how that was feeling. So these are simple things. There's simple things in our body as a human being. We can do all of these things. And I'm a certain age now, and I'm doing things today in my body I've never done before in my life. And I've done lots of things with it, but haven't done this one. And it's a very unique experience of what that feels like. And what happens with the energetic, we talked before about the physical experience, and there's the energetic experience. The physical experience, I watch my body struggling to know how to let go and how to move, actually how my body to even make this movement. And not quite sure what ligaments and tendons it has to let go of and grab hold of and let go of and grab hold of. And it's not quite sure how to do that. It's got some idea. And it's clumsily letting go, and it's clumsily trying to make some sense out of that. And then the more you do it, of course, then it gets, okay, now what I feel, and then it works out how to do it, and then it lets go. So I'm saying with practice, you'd be able to do these circles so much smoother because the body will learn how to do it, but it's like the first time. And the circles are very, very unique. That idea of that circle, see, it gets smooth. Every time I go back there, it's got smoother. But the energy moving inside the circles, that's correct. Stop, I still feel it. It's the movement inside the energy is moved differently. Very cool. And just stop. So, just to stop that circling, just in case you are feeling a bit funny, just go from side to side. So now the energy's not going round in circles, it's just going to go from side to side, and this will regulate it, I'd imagine. It just still wants to do circles and I'm doing this. It still wants to keep turning as I'm going from side to side. So I'll just keep doing this, and I'd imagine that'll regulate or stop the circulating. Yeah, so that just stops it doing it. So a lot of the Qigong, when we turn, we learn a lot of the ideas of if we rotate the leg and the energy goes down into the leg, and then it turns and relaxes and comes back up again. And we have this idea of rotating energy, spiraling down to the ground, relax, and it spirals back up again. Goes back the opposite way, it goes down. We learn this idea of the spiraling down, spiraling up. But this was different today because we're learning just to move the body just with the knees. Just turning the knees, just turning the ankles. And the whole body follows what the ankle is doing. And they all have very, very different experiences. Fascinating. Leave that for the moment. Now, you're going to need to go for a walk because I can still feel it going. So you might be able to feel it too. So it might throw you out a little bit, I'm not sure. So just go for a walk, and as soon as you walk in, or just go back to doing this exercise, what will happen is as soon as you walk, it's going to start transferring weight from side to side, backwards and forwards. Yep, it will start doing that when you walk, and it'll regulate it. But I'm just going to go backwards and forwards a couple of times just to regulate it myself, so to set it back where it was. So then when we're doing Qigong, so the idea now with the Qigong is we can move these circles. We can now the idea of we learned how to move our knees, and we've learned how to move our knee, one knee and move the other knee, or both knees together, yeah? Just wait for that. We have the G20 conference, G20 summit here in Bali in the next few days, in a week, and so we have more military vehicles I've ever seen in my life in one place. They're everywhere, so it's rather a big thing. So, but we have a lot of helicopters flying overhead at the moment as well. So yeah, so this movement, this energetic movement inside the body, so we get to feel energy moving, and we can create it by physically moving first, and then stop the physical movement, and then the energy continues moving. So you get to feel these energy spirals happening inside our body. But it's the same thing with the hand. If I use the hand, I use the shoulder, I can do circles with my shoulder. Yep. So I'm moving my arm with my shoulder, and I'm thinking of my shoulder's moving like that. If I think of my elbow, then I start moving my arm with my elbow. Yep. And the arm moves by the elbow. And if I think of my hand or my wrist, I'll start moving my arm with my wrist. Now externally, you will not be able to see any difference. You won't know what I'm doing except for what's happening inside my own mind. But if I move with the shoulder, I can tell I'm using my shoulder to move my arm. If I change the elbow, I know I'm using my elbow. And if I change it to my wrist, I know it. But the outside looks exactly the same. Do the same on the other one, shoulder first. Yeah, there's the shoulder moving. Then change to the elbow. And then to the wrist. Cool. So we're learning how to move it. So if I do it just the hand and I don't do the physical piece of my shoulder, just use the energy to move my shoulder. Yeah, it's a totally different feeling. Energy to move my elbow. It's as smooth. It's hard. There's no grinding of muscles or tendons. It's just tuning by itself as though nothing's happening. If I move my hand energetically. Yeah, that's bizarre too. There's another one. My hand's moving by itself, I'm not doing that. Well, I've asked it to move. That's a weird feeling. My hand's moving, my arm's moving, and I'm not doing it. Okay, the other shoulder the other way. Shoulder energetically. Ooh, had to think about it. Yeah, there it is there. Elbow with that arm. And wrist with that arm. Yeah, bizarre. Now, both shoulders together. Doesn't matter which way you go to start off with. Circulating both elbows together. Circulate both wrists together. Shoulders the opposite direction. Yeah, it's different one way or the other, isn't it? They're not the same. Elbows together. And then wrists together. Very cool. Well, I'm a bit high after doing that. The body's very different energetically. The arms, everything seems to be moving by itself at the moment, which is really quite strange. I just moved my leg and the leg moved in by itself. Okay. Yes. We'll try it. Just try wave hands out. I just want to see what's happening. Bring your arms up. Yeah, look at that. And then bring your arms down again. Perfect. We need to do a rotation exercise. We do that heart exercise from 5 elements. Bring your hands up, rotate your hips, push your hand forward, back to the front, and down. Good, so the body's floating completely. So what's happened is it's freed up the body energetically. The energy is floating the arms. Bring the arms down. Very good. So what it's done, I was intrigued about why we were doing that. So what it's done by doing the physical first, by moving your knees first, physically first, and think of your muscles engaging to make your knees turn, to make the circles with your knees. We'll use our hips, it's easier. To do our hips turn, we're using muscles to do, but as soon as you change it and put the energy to do that, then now the energy moves and it's a lot softer, it's quieter, and you don't feel the muscles engaging. But what it's doing is teaches you how to disengage the muscles and just start the energy movement. It's showing you how to do that. And the more you practice that, the more you just have the feeling. And I'm going to stay with this because I think this is a great practice. And the more you practice the energetically part of it, the more the muscles will just let go. That's what was happening then. And then when we did that exercise, everything it just relaxed, it's gone. There you go. Have a great weekend. For those I see tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you on Saturday morning for we're into the last week of the 5 Elements in the 200-hour course. And for the rest of you, I'll see you next Tuesday for the Tuesday class. And have a great weekend. Very cool. The body's still going. I'm standing still, but everything inside's moving, and I'm stopped on the outside, but the inside's not. But in a really lovely, calm, relaxed way. It's not frantic, it's just relaxed, but it's just moving. It probably always is, I'm just more aware of it now. Roll back on your thumbs. Go. There you go, perfect. Step back and bow to everybody, yes? As I say, just go for a walk. If you're feeling a bit lightheaded, go for a walk and just get the energy moving back and through the meridians. I think at the moment we've got it going this way, you need to go the other way. Anyway, see you soon. Much love, bye-bye.